Okay. Good morning. It is May the 20th, 2022, and it is Friday. I hope you guys are all doing very well. Let me make sure that I have everything up like I need it to be. Let's see. Okay, looks like we're good. Hi there. Okay, so it's Friday. I'm so excited and I'm so full of energy because I got to sleep, which was a nice thing to be able to sleep in late. I hope everybody is doing well. Look, here's what my week has been like. Work during the day, and then as soon as I finish work, run to my computer and then spend 4 to 8 hours going through the testimony in the Johnny Depp trial. And I was feeling very tired yesterday. So I did sleep in late today and I feel a lot better. So I hope you guys are all doing good. Hi, Patriot Angel, Scarlett. Welcome. Hey, Saul. Hi, Liz. Hello, Karen. Welcome. Hi, Ceresia. Good morning. Hi, Jackie Hughes. Jackie Hughes. So welcome everybody. So who the hell is this dude, Adam Waldman? Let me see if I can find him. We know who that is. That is Miss Penny, right? Or Judge Penny. So let's
Adam Waldman, and I will start the questioning, and then Mr. Rottenborn split that with me, and we'll be questioning next.
Mr. Rottenbottom got out of the way. Now, a couple of dynamics that I find to be really interesting is these attorneys on Amber's team. These attorneys have kept Amber to the side where she seems quite austere and above it all, can't be bothered by, the little people of the world. And then they kind of move back and forth, sharing who's going to sit where. I noticed the most bizarre dynamics, and I'm going to do just a short little video specifically on that, so I don't want to show it here. But what we're seeing among this team on yesterday was dramatically different. It was almost like a clown show because it looked like they were trying to mimic Johnny Depp and his team. There were a lot of people. I myself started saying a couple of days ago, if you need any kind of answer about the I guess the cohesiveness of a team or the social dynamics in the team, look at Johnny Depp and his team and how they interact together, and whether Johnny's part of the team or he is just an object of the team. And then look at Amber Heard. Is she, one of the team or an object of the team? And it was so clear that they were having some really serious problems. She actually got angry on the stand and left the courtroom. Later, people overheard, and now this has been verified by multiple people hearing the same thing. Later, it was heard that Elaine and Amber were having a screaming match, and Elaine said, if you don't like the way you're being represented, you can get out, or you can represent yourself. So then they come back, and now we get this bizarre situation. So that's coming up. Okay. So Adam Waldman, and I'm going to go ahead and let this play through so that you can see him as I tell you a little bit about who he is.
Good morning. My name is Elaine Ebenholt, and together with we represent Amber Heard.
This is Adam Waldman. Okay. Now, Mr. Waldman is an attorney, and he was actually Johnny Depp's divorce attorney. Okay. Now, it's quite curious, to be very clear. Amber Heard it was her team that has brought him up as a witness, which is surprising, right? Now, why is it surprising? Well, it's surprising because he represented Johnny Depp during the divorce, right? And during the divorce, that is when we got the audio recordings, the leaks, if you will, of Amber Heard screaming at Johnny Depp, go ahead, show the world, you know, I, Johnny Depp, and an abused guy. Okay. Ultimately, it was believed that he is the one that leaked these recordings. And if I remember correctly, he was actually removed by the judge because they believed that he was the one that was leaking this private information. Well, you know, I'm going to say this, while Newsweek and other publications, and I'm going to talk more about mainstream media and their love affair with Amber Heard, an abuser. I think of anything we've learned, we have learned that Amber Heard is an abuser. What remains to be seen is Johnny Depp an abuser? That's what has not been proven, right? So we do know that Amber Heard has dished out an enormous amount of abuse that was recorded, for goodness sake. Now, a lot of people tried to demonize this man, mainstream media, okay? Tried to demonize him, saying, oh, what a horrible person to be leaking this sensitive, you know, personal information, yada, yada. But my question to you is, how many times have you wished that there was a hero, right? How many times have you wished that there was a hero in the world? In many ways, Adam Waldman is a hero. And the reason that I say that he's a hero is because they were in the middle of the Me Too movement. And the Me Too movement set up a scenario. It's just a monoocular view that if a woman makes an outcry under any circumstances, they must be believed, period. Well, you're talking about a woman that makes an outcry against one of the most famous actors of his time, if not in the top 10 famous people of all time, right? So, I mean, I think on this scale that they did, where they just, who do you know in history, public, that could be a scientist, that could be an actor, that could be a uber wealthy person. Johnny Depp was number 35, meaning more people recognize Johnny Depp than historical figures of the past, like George Washington. That's shocking. I don't know what it says about society at large, but it's fairly shocking. So without question, he's definitely one of the best known, most favorite actors. At his height, he had about 7 years where he was commanding $20 million per film. That was before any box office money came in. So he's a huge star and highly sought after. He had his pick of movie roles that he would like to be in, and he has chosen some really unusual roles. He's not ever allowed himself to fall into a niche market. He's kind of been true to himself. And a lot of what Amber Heard and Mr. Rottenbottom and Elaine, a lot of what they've been trying to say has been that he was controlling what she could wear. Well, when you actually listen to the content of the conversations, it sounded more like he was kind of giving her advice, right? You don't want to be always cast into the role of bimbo. Look at what happened to Marilyn Monroe. She desperately wanted to be a real actress, a method actor, She definitely was talented, no doubt about it, but she allowed them to basically prostitute her and turned her into a bimbo that she never recovered from. She couldn't get out. She tried very hard to get out of that role. She just couldn't do it. So I kind of think, was he trying to give her guidance? I can buy that based on other actors, not women, but other actors who have said, without Johnny Depp leading me away from a direction that I was really considering, I don't think I would have had as successful a career as I have. So he's unique, he's brilliant, he's quirky, he's very unusual. He went from being one of the most famous movie stars of all time to being a rock and roll star. And it's like Amber Heard's case is, oh, let me prove to you that he uses drugs and he gets drunk. And the whole world is going, but he's a rock and roll star. They do that. We know that about him. But have you ever known Johnny Depp to hit a woman or push a woman or, and everyone, including Amber Heard's witnesses, they've all said, no, haven't seen that, haven't seen it. The closest they could get was Ellen Barkin, and her appearance in this deposition film was so bizarre. Who thought it was bizarre? If you thought that her appearance during the deposition was strange, like she was intentionally trying to look cutting edge, right? Really unusual. And it was very odd. I don't know what her purpose was. It was almost, well, I don't know. It just looked like maybe she thought she was playing some kind of role in a movie instead of just being a real person. It was very unusual. Yeah. Ellen Barkin. Yeah. So, she said, oh yeah, he threw a wine bottle. And then she said, well, he kind of lobbed it, meaning, he kind of tossed it at his friends. Okay, that is an entirely different story than what we were told. The story was he threw the bottle at the group of people. He threw the bottle, at the group of people, and he was so angry, and he's destroying the hotel room. And that is not what she said. When she said he lobbed the bottle, I said, lobbed? Are you talking about just like, hey, here, you want the bottle? And then you kind of toss it underhand. That is what lobbing the ball means. So I'm going to assume that's throwing a bottle gently. If you're holding it, if this is the bottle and you're holding it upright so it doesn't spill when you toss it to your friend, you're not going to throw it that way. You're going to take it and just sort of toss it. So when it goes through the air, it stays in that same, position, right? So she's, when she says this about lobbing the bottle, I was like, wow, that is not what we were led to believe. Doesn't help Amber. Now, Adam Waldman is more than just the Johnny Depp's defense attorney that got removed from the case for leaking information. He's a lot more than that. And I believe that he is I think that someone decided to make an example out of Adam Waldman. Now, today is Wild Speculation Friday. Wild Speculation Friday, correct? So today is Wild Speculation Friday. And for years, there has been this conspiracy, if you will, that Hollywood is owned by these rich and powerful New World Order kind of Illuminati kind of people, right? That they're just a handful of them, and they're bizarre and they're evil, and they don't care how many people that they have to destroy to, do whatever people think the Illuminati is doing. I never really understood what the goal of the Illuminati was, but here we go. so there's always been this kind of, rumors coming out of Hollywood that there's a lot of really nefarious and unusual things going on. We have seen quite a few pedophile rings coming out of Hollywood. We've had a lot of actors that have been implicated in that sort of thing. We've had very powerful politicians that have been implicated in that kind of thing. And with the whole Kevin Spacey unveiling or fall from grace, the story was promoted that these famous actors would get involved in a party situation and somebody would give them some pretty powerful drugs, introduce underage people into the social milieu. There would be recordings made, videos made, and then from that moment on, those powerful Illuminati type of moguls would have ownership over the star who had been seduced into this highly compromising situation. I've often joked about certain actors, they must have photographs with farm animals to get them to do some of the strange comments, that they would make. And so it was the belief that Kevin Spacey was the target of one of these takedowns, that they wanted him to make some sort of statement, public influence. They wanted him to do something. And perhaps he was drawing the line and saying, no, I can't do that. And they began leaking the photos and video of the underage person. They had people come out and make these accusations and outcries. And ultimately he's been destroyed now. Bill Cosby, same way. He's a very powerful African-American actor, absolutely came out as a GOP sympathizer. And there were a lot of people that tried to say that he was the target of one of these takedowns. What about, who was the guy? I can't remember the name. I've lost the name for now. It'll come back to me. So there are these examples where powerful people just get bamboo. Who's the guy that played Uncle Eddie on Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase? What's his name? Do y'all know? Both reactive abuse and narcissistic abuse occur for similar reasons. A person feels hurt and angry. They are frustrated and probably want to hurt the person who hurt them. Yeah, exactly, Ali Ross. I agree completely. Yeah. Nobody knows? Why is the name eluding me? I can't get it. Randy Quaid. Thank you. Oh my God. I kept thinking Queen. Okay, Randy Quaid. So Randy Quaid has been really vocal that he was the target of what would you call it? That they literally extortion. Would you say that would have been extortion what they did to him? Yeah. So the story that Randy Quaid put out was for he and his wife. It was like this extortion deal that he was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And remember, he got royalties from all of the vacation lunch boxes and T-shirts and movies. So that's ultimately what got Johnny Depp an enormous amount of money, almost $1 billion, is because he was getting royalties off of the sale of anything that had Pirates of the Caribbean, Captain Jack Sparrow. He was getting $1 or $2 for it, which amounted to millions and millions and millions. So Randy Quaid was in the same situation. He made these vacation movies that were uber popular, actually became like cult, classic kind of movies. And he was made this multimillionaire because he had a great deal. He said, anything that has that on there, I want a piece of the pie. So he's got all this money, and the next thing he knows, his money's disappearing. He's like, where'd it go? And it was like his accountants did some funny business, and the studio executives got drug into it, and it was just this huge mess. Ultimately, to make a long story short, they ruined the man. They absolutely ruined him. He and his wife ended up running to Colorado, Canada, to try to escape the long arm of the Illuminati, Hollywood vampire people, and it it turned out to be a big deal. So, as I'm listening to this whole thing happening with Johnny Depp and his situation, I keep thinking about Randy Quaid and the wild story he told. And I was like, wow, this is so weird to watch and think about. Did they do it to Johnny Depp? Did they do to Johnny Depp what they did to Randy Quaid? It's very hard to know, because when Adam Waldman leaked the audios, when the recordings actually came out, the Me Too, poor old Amber was blown to smithereens, out of the water, done, finished. So and then she started trying to fight back. So she started releasing her side of the recordings, but they weren't damaging to Johnny Depp. She didn't capture him being overtly abusive, or certainly never violent. The best she could do was to show him beating up some kitchen cabinets. I've seen mothers more frustrated and angry in a waiting room than that video of Johnny Depp beating up his kitchen cabinets. They were his own kitchen cabinets, nonetheless. So it just became like this. You know how you get a leak in the dam. Sooner or later, it's just gonna just open. It's gonna be just like a explode. It's just gonna open up like Vesuvius, and everything's, all the water, all the dirty, nasty stuff's just gonna come pouring out. And that's what happened. And Adam Waldman was the guy that ripped off the scab. He was the guy that said, hey, these people are flat out lying. Amber Heard has lied her butt off, and I have proof. And he put the proof out, and he got removed. So isn't he sort of that hero that we always wish for? How many of you, truthfully, how many of you were watching Whitney testify, and you were remembering the video where she had bruises all over her, and Rocky was talking to her saying, come on, tell the truth. Did you really start the fight with your sister? Tell the truth. You remember that? How many of you were watching Whitney on the stand and saying, come on, girl, just take a deep breath, find the courage, tell the truth, spill the tea on your sister? How many of you? We were looking for a hero, weren't we? Well, in many ways, I think Adam Waldman was a hero. And I think if Whitney had found the courage to tell the truth about her sister on the stand, she would have been a cult hero. I mean, it would have been worldwide. She would have been heralded as, the next phase of the Me Too movement, activist. I mean, she would have been a real fighter for, victims, not for women, for victims, right? So Adam Waldman actually took a deep breath, and he said, I got to do the right thing. This is wrong, what's happening. I have the proof that this is happening, and people need to know the truth. This person needs to be unveiled. Now, what happens to Adam Waldman after he, leaks the truth, and the judge says, sir, I'm sorry. I know that you're a very successful Washington attorney. I know that you are highly regarded in the industry. You're among the best of the best. But what you did is, wrong, unethical. And so we're going to have to release you from the trial. So he gets kicked off by the judge. And you think, okay, well, that makes sense, right? He had sanctions. That was it. Done. No. because it looks like the Illuminati came after him. He actually he got a lifetime ban from Twitter. An attorney? What egregious, horrible thing did an attorney do on Twitter that demanded to be, lifetime ban, right? So it was amusing because Adam Waldman, he is still on Instagram. He did not get removed from Instagram, but he did make a George Orwell post before this whole being called by Amber, having to go and give his deposition and everything, and then the trial and whatnot. And he put up a post on his Instagram. If you want to find him on Instagram, it's adam.waldman, M-A-N. And he made a quote from Animal Farm. And it is this one. Unpopular ideas can be silenced and inconvenient facts kept dark without the need of an official ban. The press is extremely centralized, and most of it is owned by wealthy men who have every motive to be dishonest on certain important topics. So we get a little bit of this. Like I said, I keep thinking about Randy Quaid and his extraordinary claims. He even claimed they tried to murder him multiple times. So it looks like Newsweek has gone after this attorney. New York Times. Adam Waldman's name is dirt publicly. Mainstream media. In reality, his practice and his business, he has a consulting business as well as practice, is booming. He's doing super. It used to be that if the mainstream media took aim at a person, then their business also suffered, right? And it's like the whole world is woken up, whatever they're saying on Fox or CNN or Washington Post or Newsweek or people, you just can't believe it. They're using propaganda to try and get us to do the things they want us to do. And maybe getting us to do things they want us to do, maybe they want us to vote in a certain way, or maybe they want us to purchase a particular product that's going to make one of their friends rich. We don't really know. If you're me, you don't know what they want. You don't care what they want. You're just trying to live your life day to day. But when these stories come out, they're so extraordinary. And now you've got this one with Johnny Depp that is kind of rolling out in real time. But then you think about Randy Quaid, and it's horrifying. So you get this bizarre group of people that invade Johnny Depp's life. He's had the same group, the same inner circle of people and friends that basically he's had his whole life. His sister's always at the heart. His sister's always served as the gatekeeper. He's got a couple of attorneys that have gone with him wherever he goes. They're right there with him. And occasionally there would be some friends, but most of his friends were other actors that were like him. You look at Marilyn Manson. This is a guy who's so bizarre, but look how there's no friends. Marilyn Manson he keeps away from everybody. He's socially really, really quite awkward. And he and Johnny Depp are very close. This whole Alice Cooper connection, Nicolas Cage. It's always these people that had these really, really brilliant, extraordinary careers. They made an enormous amount of money. And then all of a sudden, Willie Nelson, all of a sudden we see where, they lost all their money. How? Well, because their attorney or their accountant didn't pay their taxes for 20 years. How could that happen? Well, it keeps happening to these uber famous guys that make a ton of money. And one has to wonder, is it on purpose, right? Because Johnny Depp, before he lost his $650 million, he was nearly $1 billion. Billion. Probably the only actor that's ever reached that level, right? 15 mansions. That's how he saved himself. He sold a couple of mansions and then that paid for his taxes and got him out of trouble. So it just seems like it's always the same. On the other hand, you could say, look, this is just a lifestyle kind of, this is that creative brain who doesn't really think in a way where they look forward and they get in trouble by not paying their electricity bill, and so the electricity bill gets turned off, but then they turn around and write, best-selling novel of all time. Maybe I'm with you. Maybe it could also be something like bipolar. Bipolar 1, when people are manic or hypomanic, they're brilliant. Their brain is going so fast. They have all these tremendous cool ideas, and so they create these stunning works of art. But what happens when they get depressed? Well, then they're devastated, right? They can't do it. They're living in a dark apartment and they're not talking to anyone for months. And then sooner or later they come out of the fog and they are brilliant again and they're doing something else cool. So is that part of the, who knows? But it's wild speculation Friday. So the thought of, is it the Illuminati that's come after Johnny Depp? And did the Illuminati set Johnny Depp up by putting Amber Heard and all of her weird friends, the Amber invasion into Johnny Depp's life? And, because he's peculiar and unique and he's very private and shy, that set him up to be wide open to the influence of people that may have had some nefarious, ideas, some nefarious goals. Whether they were taking direction from the Illuminati or not, they were there maybe specifically to set him up. And we have to all agree her evidence is highly suspect and very unusual. For example, if you look at the picture of the hair, that he, pulled out of her head. Well, Rocky put her finger down on the carpet beside the hair, right? I'm going to assume to show the hair, like, here it is. I don't know. I mean, it's blonde hair against black carpet. We could see it. Here's where she went wrong. When she put her finger beside the hair, she inadvertently showed how long the hair was. So the hair was only about that long. But Amber's hair was much longer than what was laying on the floor. So did she just, cut the end off the hair? Or was that, if you look at the length of this. I don't know where, there it is. Look at the length of the hair. And if my finger is laying next to that, you see how long that hair is next to my finger? If that had been Amber Heard's hair, it would have been that long. It was crazy. So I don't know. Did they set him up? Was it intentional? She was only in his life for 14 months before they were divorced. During the time that she was there, she went through millions of his money. From the time they met on Rum Diaries until the time that they were divorced and she was gone, his decompensation, the amount of addiction and alcohol that he was consuming was devastating, more than any other time in his life. Well, we found out that her mom and dad both had opiate problems. And for some strange reason, at 50-something years old, Johnny Depp says, hey, I know what? I'm going to graduate from weed to Roxycontin. Well, Roxycontin is sort of the Queen Mother Mary of opiates. So he didn't even start with like Tylenol 3s or like a Lorcet 5 or 7.5. No. He went right to the Roxys, the big ones. That's just crazy. What caused this guy, the most famous actor of all time, a billionaire actor, what caused him in a 2-year period of time to go from Captain Jack Sparrow, the most brilliant character ever conceived, to a guy who is in fetal position on the floor? Was it Amber Heard? Well, I got to tell you this. Watching Amber Heard on the stand for 2 days might have been enough to drive me to alcoholism, and I don't drink at all. Just my forever Diet Coke. Okay, so it's very curious. That is my wild speculation Friday story. And what I want to do is I want us to go ahead and watch Adam Waldman's testimony and cross-ex. Want to go ahead and watch his deposition now, if that's okay with you guys. Is that okay? If you want to do that, put a 1. You want to watch the deposition here? You probably all got to watch it yesterday, but I didn't get to watch it. Powder Puff says she'll stay. Scarlett wants to start drinking too if we have to watch any more of Amber Heard's testimony. My God in heaven. Hey, BBT, how are you? Okay, we got several. Hey, Joan. We got several people here. Good. Diamond Paw, welcome. Hey, Singing Piranha. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's watch Desired thinks, did she testify yet? She would be a phenomenal witness no matter what they're trying to silence her. I'm going to assume you're talking about Kate Moss. No, when Amber Heard rests, then Johnny Depp team comes back and puts on the rest of their story. Was it boring, Katrine? Well, here's one of the reasons that I wanted to watch it with you guys. I wanted to watch it with y'all. I wanted to watch it with y'all because now we kind of know the story, and it's, we kind of talked about the whole Illuminati trying to destroy Johnny Depp and get his $1 billion away from him, to rob him of any kind of real influence. I mean, they're in the process of destroying Elon Musk. He is being destroyed right now because he purchased Twitter, because he wanted to purchase Twitter, and he spoke out against what Twitter was doing. These stories are fairly common. So now that we know the story about, Johnny Depp's story is very similar to what happened to Randy Quaid. Johnny Depp had the Amber invasion, and before Amber entered his life, he was doing very well. He was healthy, still drinking a bit, but he always had. He wasn't getting into all these crazy problems. He smoked weed. He did not use all of these other crazy drugs, mushrooms, and all that. I mean, all of his friends have come out and said, good God, no. Alcohol and weed and our music. And that's all we cared about. That's all we did. There's videos where you can see these musicians, the Hollywood vampires and their friends. They're all just old rock stars that are now worried about their cholesterol, and they're eating healthy instead of using heroin. And they're all just playing their music. You can listen to them talk. They're not slurring their words. They're not incapacitated. And then you have the Amber invasion and this group of really bizarre people. And they're bringing with them every known illicit drug in the world. Mushrooms, MDMA, cocaine, Adderall, Roxycontin, everything. Even propanolol, stuff that killed Michael Jackson. Amber even was using that for a time. Craziness. And where did Dr. Kipper come from? Where? From that very sketchy agent that basically brought Amber into his life. Very sketchy. She's the one who said, oh yeah, you should use Dr. Kipper. That'll be great. And there's speculation that Dr. Kipper was the one that really once he began using opiates, Dr. Kipper was continuing to provide the opiates. Very sketchy. Very sketchy. Very sketchy. So anyway, wild speculation. I don't know any of this to be true. I'm just having fun with, what we do in our real world. So don't run with this and go, oh, she said this, she said that. It's just wild speculation Friday. We're just having fun. And if you read about Randy Quaid's story and then you think about what's happened to Johnny Depp over the past 5 years, very similar, very sketchy Hollywood people. Very sketchy. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch. Oh, I wonder why that changed. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what Adam Waldman has to say.
Will you please state your name and address?
Sure, it's Adam Robert Waldman, Washington, D.C.
And what is your current occupation?
Attorney. I'm also involved with a skincare company in a variety of capacities.
That's his
How long
wife.
have you been an
His
attorney?
wife is a doctor, a medical doctor.
Since 1995.
Do you currently represent John C. Depp II, who I will be referring to in this deposition as Mr. Depp or Depp?
I do.
And is this representation an attorney-client representation?
It is.
Does it include any other type of representation of Mr. Depp other than as an attorney-client?
I would instruct the witness not to answer that question on the grounds of attorney-client privilege and attorney work product. He can't answer that question without disclosing communications between himself and his client, Mr. Depp. As you're aware, Ms. Bredehoff, the court has ruled that Mr. Depp has not waived attorney-client privilege and will not be waiving attorney-client privilege. So you're aware of that.
It was so dumb for them to call this
Mr.
guy.
Chu, I'm
It
not
was
sure
dumb.
that you heard my question. I was actually asking him if he had any other type of representation relationship with Mr. Depp other than as an attorney-client.
I think he can answer that yes or no, but I would instruct the witness on behalf of Johnny Depp not to disclose any communications you've had with your client.
No.
So just so we're clear, since we had a little bit of record back and forth. the
Elaine,
only way in
be
which you
quiet.
represent Mr. Depp is as an attorney-client representation. Is that correct? I'm sorry, Mr. Waldman.
Yes,
I
that's
believe
correct.
that's true.
Okay. And you are here today providing this deposition under a subpoena and then subsequent notice, correct?
Yes.
And when did you first become Mr. Depp's counsel?
I think that it was around October 2016.
And what is your role in this case as counsel for Mr. Depp?
Objection. I would instruct the witness not to answer that question.
Okay, I'll follow the instruction.
When did you first meet Mr. Depp as opposed to first start representing him?
I first met him in October of 2016.
How is it that you came to meet Mr. Depp?
The general counsel that I referenced a moment ago asked me to go and have a meeting with him, with Mr. Depp, and to talk about a financial problem that he was having.
Did you enter into a written representation agreement with Mr. Depp when you began your representation?
I would instruct the witness not to answer that
Elaine,
question. That calls for.
Don't you get a
attorney-client privilege.
contract when you're about to work with somebody and represent
Okay, I
somebody?
follow the
That's just a
instruction.
dumb question.
Have
So
you
dumb.
entered into more than one representation agreement with Mr. Depp during the course of your?
He's not going to
representation?
answer.
Same instruction not to answer. You can't answer that without disclosing attorney-client communications and attorney work product.
Mr. Waldman, when did you consider your attorney-client relationship with Mr. Depp to have begun?
October
I believe it
2016.
began the night I met him, actually.
Mhm.
Sometime in October 2016?
Yes, ma'am.
Has the attorney-client relationship between you and Mr. Depp been severed at any point between October 2016 and the present?
Would instruct the witness not to answer that question on the grounds that you can't answer that question without disclosing attorney-client communications.
Okay, I accept the instruction.
As Mr. Depp's attorney, you have provided him with advice. Is that fair to say?
That's correct.
And you have charged Mr. Depp for your advice, correct?
I would instruct the witness not to answer that question. You can't answer that without
Weird questions.
Client communications, and the fee arrangement in any event is.
Oh my gosh,
irrelevant.
Susie.
But I'm instructing you not to
Susie.
answer on the grounds
Oh
of
my
privilege.
gosh. Does she make you
I accept the
crazy?
instruction.
She makes me crazy.
Mr. Waldman, when you provide legal services in an attorney-client relationship, your understanding of that is that you provide advice and your client in turn compensates you in some manner. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, as a general matter, that's how I understand an attorney-client.
What is the point, Elaine?
And has Mr. Depp paid you for advice?
I would instruct.
He's not gonna
I do
answer
instruct
that.
The witness not to answer on the grounds of attorney-client privilege. You can't answer that
She
question
just
without
asked.
disclosing your
She just
communications with
asked that
Mr.
same
Depp.
question. She knows damn well that
I
a
accept the
relationship is established when you have, an exchange of
Let's go general
services.
again and see if maybe we can work at it from that perspective. So in your relationship with your clients, you provide advice and it's up to the client to determine whether to follow that advice. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah,
As a
because
general
that's
matter,
what
I do
you
agree.
did with Amber. That's why your case is in the
And
poop
by the
house.
same token, it would be up to the client to determine whether to reject your advice in whole or part, correct?
You're still speaking in general.
Correct.
In general, yes.
Okay. Now, did your relationship with Mr. Depp, and I'm talking about your attorney-client relationship, deviate from those general principles that in some way Mr. Depp is not permitted to follow or reject your advice?
Would instruct the witness not to.
He
answer the
is not going to
question
allow
based on
him to
attorney-client
come even
privilege.
close to that kind of question. Whether it's a good answer or
accept the
bad
instruction.
answer, you can neither confirm
So
nor
Mr. Depp
or
has the
deny.
right to terminate
Period.
your
That's the official
representation at any
language.
time. Is that correct?
But yes, I think it's true.
I think
Mr.
we
Depp
need to let,
would be free to terminate at any time.
my apologies, Mr. Waldman. I
And
didn't realize
here's
you
what
were
I don't
talking.
understand,
Did you
Desired.
finish?
They're
Yes, I did.
almost out of time. They've only got 8
Now,
hours left.
has
Why
Mr.
did they
Depp
do this?
terminated
Why did
your
they waste so much
representation of him at
time?
any time between October 2016 and the present?
That's the same question that
Yes.
I instructed Mr. Waldman not to answer before, just stated in a slightly different way. So I would instruct the witness not to answer that question.
I accept the instruction.
She is a terrible,
Now,
terrible.
And Mr.
Oh my
Depp,
gosh.
as the client in your relationship, is in the position to make the final decision regardless of your advice. Would you agree?
I would instruct the witness not to answer that question. I don't know that I know he can't answer that question without disclosing communications with Mr. Depp. So I instruct the witness not to answer.
Nancy Drew, that is
accept the
an
instruction.
excellent statement. Elaine did not even look to
Mr.
see
Waldman,
about the
if
makeup,
you
if that
were
was even something that was
advising a
real
client in
in
an
2012,
attorney-client
2013. Good point.
And you were in settlement negotiations. Would it be you or the client who has the ultimate decision-making ability?
But to speculate about the question,
Yeah.
yes, generally, the client would be responsible for deciding, the ultimate outcome of a settlement. Yes.
Now, you met Mr. Depp after he and Amber Heard had split up. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you met Mr. Depp after he and Amber Heard had reached a settlement in their divorce. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
So you have no personal knowledge of anything that went on during their marriage. Is that fair to say?
Well, it depends what you mean by personal knowledge. I wasn't there. If that's what you mean. Correct.
You never witnessed any interaction between Mr. Depp and Amber Heard prior to October 2016. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But he had all the
And
recordings.
you have no personal knowledge of any conduct by either of them against the other prior to October 2016. Is that correct?
He has all the recordings.
Again, if you're asking me, do I have any knowledge of their conduct? I think I have knowledge of their conduct. I think maybe you're asking me, did I witness conduct?
I'm asking for personal knowledge, which would mean you would have had to have witnessed it.
Well, you could
If
witness
you're asking
on
whether I
video.
witnessed it, the answer is no.
Now, your initial knowledge of the relationship between Mr. Depp and Ms. Hurd was based on your interviews with Mr. Depp. Would that be fair to say?
I would instruct the witness not to answer that question because he can't even answer yes or no without disclosing the substance of communications with his client, Mr. Depp.
I accept the instruction.
Once you came into Mr. Depp's life and became his counsel, Mr. Depp filed with your assistance a number of lawsuits. Would you agree?
Yes,
Did Mr. Depp terminate Tracy Jacobs as his agent before or after you became Mr. Depp's counsel?
Tracy Jacobs is the
Waldman, I would
one that I
instruct
think
you
is
not
shady,
to
or one of
answer that
those is
question.
shady.
If doing so would require you to disclose any communications you had with Mr. Depp.
it would.
How long had Tracy Jacobs been Mr. Depp's agent at the time Mr. Depp terminated Tracy Jacobs?
And again, Adam, same instruction to the extent that that answering the question requires you to disclose communications that you had with Mr. Depp. I would instruct you not to answer the question.
It would.
Was it Mr. Depp's decision to terminate Tracy Jacobs?
Again, I would instruct you not to answer that question because that could only have come from Mr. Depp in the communication with you.
I accept the instruction.
After you began representing Mr. Depp filed a lawsuit against Joel Mandel, Mr. Depp's former business manager, correct?
That's correct.
And you represented Mr. Depp in that lawsuit against Joel Mandel and his company, did you not?
I did.
But it was Mr. Depp's decision on whether to file the lawsuit against Mr. Mandel and his company. Would you agree?
I would instruct the witness not to answer that question because it would require disclosure of communications between Mr. Depp and Mr. Waldman as to who was advising who as to filing the case against TMG and the Mandel brothers. So I would instruct you not to answer that.
So similar to Randy Quaid's
I accept the
experience.
instruction.
It's
Did
like
Mr.
this
Depp
guy,
have
Adam
the
Waldman,
ultimate
came in and
decision?
saved Johnny Depp.
Making ability with respect to the lawsuit against Mr. Mandel and his company?
And again, I would instruct you not to answer to the extent it requires you to disclose attorney-client communication.
It would.
After you began representing Mr. Depp filed a lawsuit against Jake Bloom, Mr. Depp's former attorney, correct?
That's correct.
And you represented Mr. Depp in that lawsuit against Jake Bloom and his law firm, did you not?
I did.
But it was Mr. Depp's decision on whether to file the lawsuit against Mr. Bloom and his law firm. Is that correct?
Again, I would
He's not
instruct the
going to
witness
answer
not
those
to
questions,
answer to the
Elaine.
extent it requires him to disclose attorney-client communications.
It would.
And Mr. Depp, though, was the ultimate decision maker in connection with any decisions made in the litigation against Mr. Bloom and his law firm. Would you agree?
Same instruction not to answer. It's basically the same question, gussied up a bit. So same instruction not to
It's
answer.
gussied up.
I accept the instruction.
After
Sound like my grandma.
representing Mr. Depp filed a lawsuit against the Sun newspaper and its editor-in-chief, Dan Wooten, correct?
Correct.
For purposes of this deposition, I may refer to the lawsuit against the Sun and its editor, Dan Wooten, as the UK lawsuit or the UK litigation. Will you understand those references to mean this?
I will.
What was your role in the UK litigation?
I would instruct the witness not to answer
I don't
that
understand.
question because it necessarily requires him or would require him to disclose his communications with his client, Johnny Depp.
It would.
Is this did
You
they get
represented Mr. Depp throughout the UK litigation, correct?
got it gussied up,
Again,
Sarisia?
I would
And Mr. Depp alleged in the UK litigation that the Sun and Dan Wooten had committed libel by accusing Mr. Depp of being a, quote, wife beater, end of quote, and committing domestic violence against Amber Heard, correct?
That's true.
It was Mr. Depp's decision on whether to bring the UK lawsuit against the Sun and Dan Wooten, correct?
And again, I would instruct the witness not to answer any.
I don't understand the
I would
point
instruct
of
him not
her
to answer
calling him
because
to
it
testify.
would require him
Why?
to disclose attorney-client.
What did she
communications
think
as
she
to
was
the
going to
thought
get from him?
process that went into filing that particular lawsuit.
I accept the instruction.
After you began representing Mr. Depp filed suit against Amber Heard, his former wife, correct?
That's correct.
And you represented Mr. Depp in the lawsuit against Amber Heard from March 1, 2019 up until October of 2020. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it was Mr. Depp's decision on whether to file the lawsuit against Amber Heard. Is that correct?
Would instruct
He's
the
not
witness
gonna-
not to answer that question. based on
Elaine,
attorney-client
you're driving
privilege.
me to drugs and
I
alcohol,
accept the
Elaine.
instruction.
And Mr. Depp is alleging in this lawsuit that Amber Heard defamed him by suggesting that he had committed domestic abuse against her, correct?
Yes.
As part of your representation of Mr. Depp, you contacted potential witnesses. Is that correct?
Again, I would, that is attorney work product and that is protected in Virginia. So I would object on that basis, but you can answer that question, yes or no.
Yes.
You also spoke with the press on Mr. Depp's behalf, did you not?
And I would instruct the witness not to answer to the extent that it requires disclosure of any communications between yourself and Mr. Depp.
It would.
This is one of the few times that we've seen
Therefore-
Johnny Depp really paying
Therefore, I accept the
attention
instruction.
to the witness. That's interesting to me.
How frequently did you communicate with the press on Mr. Depp's behalf?
I would instruct the witness not to answer that question because impossible to do so without disclosing attorney-client privilege.
I accept the instruction.
Why did you communicate with the press?
Same instruction not to answer on the same grounds.
They have 2 more weeks,
I accept the
Greta.
instruction.
What were you hoping to gain?
I think
Same instruction not to answer the question.
Friday the 27th is closing arguments.
You remain Mr. Depp's primary counsel for all of his affairs. Isn't that correct?
I'm going to instruct the witness not to answer that because I don't think you can answer that without disclosing your communications with Mr. Depp, and we have to be consistent.
That's true, and I accept the instruction.
Mr. Waldman, I'm going to ask you to take. a
Oh,
look at what the
Amber,
mark is.
Amber,
Exhibit
the little
number
Dutch
3.
girl.
Did there come a time in 2000?
So useless so far, Muffin Top. I'm not impressed.
About writing an article about Mr. Depp.
And to the extent that you
Elaine
cannot
does have
answer
a
it without
purpose for
disclosing
this. It's a
communications
pre-recorded
with Mr.
deposition.
Depp, I
Yes,
would
we know.
instruct you not to
She already
answer.
knew he didn't answer questions. She wants the jury to hear
I
her
think it would
questions.
implicate
But why,
discussions with
Greta?
Mr. Depp,
Like
so
what?
I accept
How
the
does she think it helps?
The author of this article, which was published on June 21, 2018, is Stephen Roderick. Were you present when Mr. Roderick interviewed Mr. Depp?
You may answer that question yes or no.
It's not yes or no. I was there for some of it.
Okay. Was the Rolling Stone interview before or after Mr. Depp filed suit against the Sun and Dan Wooten?
I'm not sure.
Do you recall whether the publication of this Rolling Stone article was before or after Mr. Depp filed the lawsuit against the Sun and Dan Wooten?
I don't.
I'm going to ask you to take a look at page 10. And it says on page 10, it was Adam Waldman who first contacted Rolling Stone about
In the
writing a
end,
story about the
desired.
injustice being done to Depp's reputation and bottom line. Do you see that? Well, before you go there, Mr. Waldman, I asked you a question. I just read that and said, do you see that? Can you answer that question?
I thought I answered yes, but yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. And is that an accurate statement?
No.
What is inaccurate about it?
It says it was Adam Waldman who first contacted Rolling Stone. That's incorrect.
What is correct?
What is correct is that I was not the first to contact Rolling Stone.
Who first contacted Rolling Stone?
Mr. Depp.
I'm going to ask the question, notwithstanding, why did Mr. Depp contact Rolling Stone?
I would instruct you not to answer that question.
I do too, Harlem.
Accept the
It's
instruction.
cute.
Did Mr. Depp authorize you to have communications with Rolling Stone to set up this interview?
Instruct you not to answer that question on the grounds of attorney-client privilege.
I accept the instruction.
Did you assist Mr. Depp with publicity on Mr. Depp's behalf?
I would instruct you not to answer on the grounds of attorney-client communications.
I accept the instruction.
In your view, does assisting Mr. Depp with publicity constitute legal work?
The witness has already testified he had one engagement for Mr. Depp, and that was a legal engagement. So I'm going to instruct him not to answer any questions about his communications with Mr. Depp.
Right,
I
Gigi?
accept the instruction.
In participating in the interview with the Rolling Stones, were you speaking on Mr. Depp's behalf?
And I'm going to instruct you not to answer because,
Elaine!
again, I don't think you can answer that question without disclosing your communications with
Oh.
Mr. Depp about authority. So I'm instructing you not to answer the question.
Amber, put that nose
It was
down.
Mr. Depp's choice whether you said anything to the press relating to Mr. Depp. Would you agree?
I instruct the witness not to answer.
I accept the
Mr. Waldman, you reached out to a number of other publications to speak on Mr. Depp's behalf. Do you recall?
Again, I would instruct not to answer to the extent it
What's the
requires
point
you to
of
disclose
this?
communications that you had with Mr. Depp.
It would, and I accept the instruction.
You know what's happening right now?
How many publications did you
It is
communicate
pink.
with
It's
on behalf of
she
Mr.
is
Depp?
ridiculous.
Same instruction not to answer based on attorney-client.
You wanna know what's
privilege and
happening right
attorney
now?
work product.
The jury is
I
taking a
accept the
nap.
instruction.
So it doesn't matter if this
How many
was
publications
Elaine's
did you reach out to on Mr. Depp's
strategy.
behalf relating to the
Human
UK
nature
litigation?
is to
Same
just sort of
instruction not to
hear,
answer
you
on
know,
the same
Charlie
grounds.
Brown's mother. Wah, 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 wah,
Accept the
wah,
instruction.
wah, 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 wah.
How many publications did
At
you
this
reach
point,
out to
even
on
if
Mr.
something
Depp's
extraordinary
behalf
comes
relating
out,
to
they're not
this
even going to
litigation?
hear it because
Same
they've shut
instruction
down.
on the same grounds.
They're looking at the people that are out in the
I accept the
galley.
instruction.
They're watching Johnny
How many
Depp.
publications
They're
did you
watching
reach out to
Amber
concerning
Heard. They're not
allegations
listening.
That Mr. Depp had abused Amber Heard.
Same instruction, same grounds.
Wah, 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 wah,
I
wah,
accept the
wah.
instruction.
Mr. Waldman, you had a Twitter account. did
Wah,
you
wah,
not?
wah, 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 wah,
I did.
wah.
When
And
did
you got
begin that
banned.
Twitter account?
I'm not sure of the date.
Approximately when?
I'm not even sure of the year.
I'm like him. I have no idea when I
Prior to
started my social media
2005,
stuff.
2010,
Elaine, he answered. I'd say ask and
Do
answered.
you want me
And
to
I'm not an
speculate?
attorney.
I want you to give me your best estimate.
Requires speculation.
I'm really not sure of the year. I couldn't put a specific date on it.
Do you
If you
recall?
want to give me ranges, I could try.
No, don't do that, Adam.
do
be
you
quiet,
recall
Adam.
How many years you had the Twitter account?
Don't just say you don't
Not
know.
Precisely, no.
Good.
Was it more than a year?
I don't
I
know.
think so.
I would
Was
say
it
I
more
don't
than
know.
3 years.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Elaine, let me have a drink, whatever's in your bag.
You
No,
had
I don't
your
know.
Twitter account suspended, correct?
Yes, that's true. My Twitter account was suspended.
Adam Waldman
Do you
is
know
a
when that was?
bad man.
Not with specificity.
You know who else is in
Do
the
you recall
club?
why?
The club you never want to be in.
Well, I wrote several letters to Twitter to ask why I was suspended for life. from
Because
their
you're
platform.
a bad man,
And
Adam.
the response that I received was multiple violations of their policy. So I
Which
asked,
policy?
could they name one example
Yeah,
of those multiple violations?
right.
And they responded by saying now they were
Go ask
appealing,
Trump.
without my asking them to do so, my suspension. And that's when they sent me another note that I was suspended for life.
Oh, Adam.
So
Shame,
just so the record's
shame,
clear, so
shame.
You have been suspended for life by Twitter?
No, say it one more time,
Yes.
Elaine. Nobody heard you.
Do you have a Twitter account now?
Wait a minute, right? The club you never want to be a member of. I got banned for life from Twitter. My life is crushed. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it another day because I can never tweet again. Stupid. Stupid.
Do you still communicate with the press relating to Mr. Depp?
And I would instruct the witness not to answer the question to the extent that it requires you to
It's
disclose
a
communications between you and Johnny.
bad man.
It would, so I accept the instruction.
Do you still communicate with the press on Mr. Depp's behalf?
Same instruction, same grounds.
I accept the
Elaine, I don't like
Has
you.
Mr. Depp ever asked you not to speak to the press?
Same instruction, same grounds. That clear on its face, it would require Mr. Waldman to disclose his communications.
Now
with
he's
Mr. Depp,
laughing.
which he will not do.
Everybody's laughing at
It would.
Amber
I
Heard
accept
and
the
her
instruction.
attorney.
Would you have followed Mr. Depp's direction if he had asked you not to speak to the press?
I will
Shut
instruct the
up,
witness not to answer
Elaine.
because it's an end around the attorney-client privilege. Clever, but I'm going to instruct the
It,
witness.
it was
witness
not
to answer.
clever. I have to disagree. That was not clever.
Has Mr. Depp ever asked you not to speak to the press about issues involving he and Amber Heard?
We'd instruct the witness not to answer the question.
What is
on
wrong with
attorney-client
her?
privilege.
I accept the instruction.
Would you have followed Mr. Depp's direction if he had asked
Of
you
course.
not to speak with the press about issues involving he and Amber Heard?
And I will instruct not to answer on the grounds of attorney-client privilege.
I wish I had one of my coloring books right now. I could be coloring while we were listening
Has
to
Mr.
this
Depp ever asked you to
non-testimony.
correct or retract any statements you made to the press relating to Mr. Depp or Mr. Heard or Amber Heard?
Would instruct the witness not to answer on the grounds of attorney-client privilege.
I accept the instruction.
Would you have followed Mr. Depp's direction if he had asked you to correct or retract any statements you made to the press relating to Mr. Depp or Amber Heard?
Same instruction, same grounds.
And I accept the instruction.
Have you ever asked the press to correct or retract any statements you have made to the press relating to Mr. Depp or Amber Heard?
I want to make sure. I
I'm
understand the instruction.
bored.
Are you saying you
I'm
instruct not to answer
bored.
in the event?
Me and
It
Harlem
implicates
need a mega
privileged
pint,
conversations with Mr. Depp?
please.
Yeah, I think I'm going to instruct not to answer.
Okay, thank you. I understand. I accept the
I
instruction.
accept the
Mr. Waldman,
I
I'm
accept
going
the
to ask you to
instruction
take a
too.
look at what has been marked as
Pizza,
exhibit number
pizza.
4.
Come play.
I think I'm gonna
Come
kind of
play
blow it up
pizzas.
just a touch. It's kind of hard to read. Okay.
I'm going to read
And
some
it's in,
comments. Can we do that? Because
it's
if
an
I'm bored, you
article
guys are
on
bored.
July 3, 2020.
I'm curious what Elaine hashtags
Real
are out
online,
there.
this is
Oh,
really male
somebody should go
online.
look.
You see
That's
that?
a good question. He might
I
as
do.
well just say, I plead the
No,
fifth.
actually, if I'm just going to go to.
I don't even think it's about
I'm going
self-incrimination.
to ask you to
He
take a
didn't
look
he didn't break the
at
law.
the following.
What he
It
did was
says,
only
Adam
well, not
Waldman,
only, but it was
defense lawyer,
unethical,
said
and he was
afterwards,
removed from the trial. But he
quote,
didn't break a
Amber
law.
Heard and her friends in
That's
the media
different.
used fake sexual violence allegations as both a sword and a shield,
Oh,
depending
listen.
on their needs. They have selected some of her sexual violence hoax facts, quote facts, end of quote, as the sword, inflicting them on the public and Mr. Depp. Do you see that?
I do.
Did you make that statement?
I believe I did.
Did you make that statement on behalf of Mr. Depp?
Instruct the witness not to answer that question on attorney-client privilege grounds.
I accept the instruction.
Why did you make the statement?
Same instruction, same rationale. You can't answer the why question without disclosing attorney-client privilege, so I would instruct you not to answer.
Were you representing Mr. Depp at the time you made this statement?
And in any event, I'm going to instruct the witness not to answer that question on attorney-client privilege grounds.
I apologize. I actually didn't hear the question. I can agree with the instruction, but I probably should hear the question.
Fair enough.
Amy, could you read that back, please? Thank you.
Yeah, burn up that time.
One moment. Were you representing Mr. Depp at the time you made this statement?
I would instruct the witness not to answer on attorney-client privilege grounds.
Thank you. I accept the instruction. Sorry for the repetition.
We enjoyed it so much, Adam.
Discuss
Thank you.
the statement with Mr. Depp before making the statement.
On same grounds.
Yeah, I accept the instruction.
Did you discuss the statement with Mr. Depp after making the statement?
Same instruction. Same
Elaine!
grounds.
I accept the instruction.
Was Mr. Depp aware either before or after that you were making this statement?
Same instruction, same grounds.
I accept the instruction.
Did you make
It was
this statement
stupid,
with Mr.
Pink.
Depp's authorization or agreement?
Same instruction, same grounds.
I can't, I don't, I think
Was Mr. Depp aware that you were
She
speaking
looks-
with the press?
Same instruction, same grounds.
I would not choose Elaine
I accept the instruction.
for help legally. How's that?
Did Mr. Depp ever ask you to retract or correct this statement?
Same instruction, same grounds.
I accept the instruction.
If Mr. Depp had asked you to retract or correct this statement, would you have retracted or corrected it?
Same instruction, same grounds.
I accept the instruction.
If Mr. Depp had told you that the statement was not correct, would you have corrected or retracted it?
Same instruction, same grounds.
I accept the instruction.
Did you rely upon any statements or evidence from Mr. Depp in making this statement?
Same instruction, same grounds.
Yes, I accept the instruction.
And if you could bring up exhibit number 5. Mr. Waldman, I'm going to be asking you a question about a specific statement in this one. If you would like to read the article first, you are certainly at liberty to, and you could take control now and do that.
Thank you. I will.
Read slowly,
It says-
Adam.
This is, I guess, I didn't set the stage here. This
We don't get
was
to read it, do we?
the Daily Mail published on July 3rd, 2020. And I'm going to now direct your attention to page 9. Depp's lawyer, Adam Waldman, said the various discrepancies prove that nothing Hurd and her friends said about the events of May 21, 2016 could be considered credible. Do you see that?
Hearsay.
Then I'm going to direct your attention, Mr. Waldman, to the next statement. Quote, quite simply, this was an ambush, a hoax. They
An
set Mr. Depp up
ambush.
by calling the cops, but the first attempt didn't do the trick. The officers came to the penthouses, thoroughly searched and interviewed, and left after seeing no damage to face
Wow.
or property. So Amber and her friends spilled a little wine and roughed the place up got their story straight under the direction of a lawyer and a publicist, and then placed a second call to 911. Do you see that?
That's what the evidence shows.
Did you make those statements?
There are two parts to what you've shown me. The first part didn't have quotation marks around it.
And I'm not asking about that. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
where it said nothing could be considered credible, that's not quoting me. The part
Right.
with the quote marks, I believe I said that, yes.
So starting from quite simply through (911), you stated all that. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Hey, you dirty hooker.
Did you make these statements on Mr. Depp's behalf?
Instruct the
He's
witness
not gonna answer
to,
that.
Answer on the grounds of attorney-client privilege.
But am I wrong?
Accept
Listen,
instruction.
am I right or wrong? Isn't
Why did you?
the
make
evidence
these statements?
shows that what
Same
was in that
instruction, same
article
reason.
actually looks like what
I accept
happened,
the
right?
instruction.
What were you trying to convey to the press in making these statements?
Same instruction, same reason.
I accept the instruction.
Did you discuss this statement with Mr. Depp before making these statements?
Same instruction, same reason.
I accept the instruction.
Boy, it burned up a lot of time too.
Did you discuss these?
Kelly,
statements with
it burned
Mr.
up
Depp
so
following
much
making these
time.
statements?
Same instruction, same rationale.
Yes, I accept the instruction.
Was Mr.
We do
Depp
too,
aware
Adam.
either before
Damn it.
or after that you were making these statements?
Hi,
Same
Dublin,
instruction, same
Ireland.
reason.
I accept the instruction.
I'm glad you're here,
Did you
River
make these
Queen.
statements with Mr. Depp's authorization or agreement?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
Was Mr. Depp aware you were speaking with the press?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
Did Mr. Depp ever ask you to retract or correct these statements?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
If Mr. Depp had asked you to retract or correct these statements, would you have retracted or corrected them?
Same instruction, same basis.
Elaine, you're killing me, girl. You're killing me.
If Mr. Depp had told you these
You're not
statements were
clever
not
enough
correct,
to play
would
that
you have
game,
corrected
Elaine.
or retracted them?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
Did you rely upon any statements or evidence from Mr. Depp in making these statements?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
Mr. Waldman, I'm going to ask you to take a look at exhibit number 6. This was another Daily Mail online, July 3, 2020. And if you would like to go ahead and read the article, this would be a good time to do it.
Thank you.
Mr. Waldman, we were looking at Waldman exhibit number 6, and it's the Daily Mail from July, just lost her there, but July 3rd, 2020, and you were going to scroll through it, and I think we had some technical difficulties, so we took a break. Have you had an opportunity to review it, or do you need to now?
No, Ms. Bredoff, I just saw the screen for the first time, so may I read it now?
Absolutely. I'm going to ask you to turn to what is the 11th page, the last page you just finished reading. And I'm going to direct your attention to some specific words that are attributed to you. Do you see that it says Depp's attorney Adam Waldman said? Okay. You see Depp's attorney Adam Waldman said. Do you see that there, Mr. Waldman?
I do.
Okay. And then I'm going to direct your attention to specifically the end of Ms. Hurd's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp. Do you see that?
I do.
Did you speak the words, quote, the end of Ms. Hurd's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp?
I'm not sure. It appears as I look at this that there are quote marks around the statement, and that suggests that I did. I don't remember saying these particular words, but it appears so.
Do you have any reason to believe that you did not say the end of Ms. Hurd's abuse hoax against Ms. Johnny Depp?
No, I have no reason to doubt that.
were you representing Mr. Depp at the time you made this statement? I'm going to refer to it as a statement. I'm taking specific words, Ms. Hurd's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp. But were you representing Mr. Depp at the time you made the statement that included Ms. Hurd's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp?
Instruct the witness not to answer based on attorney-client privilege.
I accept the instruction.
Why did you make this statement?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the
Elaine,
instruction.
What were you trying to convey to the press in making this statement?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
Did you make this statement on Mr. Depp's behalf?
Same instruction, same basis.
Elaine,
I accept the instruction.
clearly
Did you
you have no
discuss this
case
statement with
and you're
Mr.
just
Depp
trying to
before
burn up your
making this
time.
statement?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
Did you discuss this statement with Mr. Depp following making the statement?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
Was Mr. Depp aware either before or after that you were making this statement?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
Did you make this statement with Mr. Depp's authorization or agreement?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
Was Mr. Depp aware you were speaking with the press?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
Did Mr. Depp ever ask you to retract or correct this statement?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
If Mr. Depp had asked you to retract or correct this statement, would you have done so?
Same instruction, same basis.
I accept the instruction.
Mr. Waldman, I'm going to ask you to take a look at what has been marked as deposition exhibit number 11. And if you want to take a moment, I'm going to try to make it. Mr. Waldman, I'm just going to ask you, it's just kind of 2.5 pages. Go ahead. And
This
take
is so
a moment
weird,
to,
isn't it? It's so
review it,
strange.
And then I'll ask you some questions.
Thank you.
Oh, I think they've ruined their careers, Muffin Top. I agree with you. This is terrible. Amber, how could you let this happen? They reject information that refutes or disproves the experience, not just because you're psychologically rigid, but also cognitive distortions. Sure, Allie. Their
Okay, thank you. I read it.
conclusions
Okay.
make sense to
So,
them.
direct
Well,
your
yeah,
attention to
but not to
exhibit number
rational
11.
reality, right?
So,
Hey,
because there's
Callie.
a number of these, so maybe we can just clear it up right from the start. So we have conversation. If you look at the top, conversation, 6 messages, 3 parties, over 209 minutes. And it has this first one, it has a date and a time. And it
Yeah, but you know
has
what,
a
Harlem?
telephone number. Do you see that?
Pay attention to how much time
I
she's
do.
burned up.
Okay.
I,
And
I don't think
then
they
it
have anything
has
else.
some email messages or text messages. It looks like it starts with Keith Bishop. Do you know who Keith Bishop is?
I do.
And who is he?
Keith Bishop is a publicist who lives in London.
And for what publication?
Oh no, he's a publicist, he's an advisor on media.
I see. Did you, at any time, did you or Mr. Depp ever employ Keith Bishop in any kind of public relations role?
Mr. Waldman, I would instruct you not to answer any, I would instruct you not to answer the question to the extent that it would require you to disclose
Pink
any
lady
communications
luck.
you had with.
Oh,
with
no,
Johnny.
you didn't. Did you really start selling shells? Are we going to auction shells? Or are we just going to sell them? Tell me the rules of your game, Pink. from the Red Sea. You want to sell it? Is it pretty? I saw some in Egypt that were like just 2-3 feet long, amazingly. Well, you know what, Pink? I wish you luck, girl. I hope it becomes just I hope you're a millionaire from your very uber successful shell business. Will you be selling shells by the seashore?
Receiving or giving.
I would not be able to answer without doing so. So I accept the instruction.
Okay, and then Mr. Bishop says, and this is on 1/28/2020, Adam, I can confirm a meeting with
Selling
Mail
shells,
Online
and
for
she has
Monday,
a
17
flea
February
circus.
2021.
I love it,
You see
Pink.
that?
I love it.
I do.
So did you in fact have a meeting with the Mail Online on 17 February?
I couldn't say sitting here now definitively that we met on Monday, the 17th of February, no, but I
That's
see this
because-
and it wouldn't surprise me if we had.
No,
And
you
with
are
Mr.
not.
Depp,
You are
do you think
not
you had a
selfish, Pink. You're amazing. You're as
I believe Mr.
amazing
Depp
as
was with
Adam
me when we had
Waldman.
this meeting.
And you were representing Mr. Depp at the time, correct?
I
Are you
would
sure they
instruct the
didn't call
witness
you
not
selfish?
to answer that question based on attorney-client privilege.
I accept the instruction.
She's
When did
shellfish,
you
critters.
Obtain the audio tape that you're referencing in this text message.
And I would instruct you not to answer the question to the extent it would
I
require
saw it,
you
BBT.
to dis-
Oh, thank God. Thank you, God. Okay. Thank you, God.
Our next one would be Detective Sandanaga, Sandanaga.
A detective, okay.
It's about 20 minutes.
All right, let's go ahead.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Is that, and go ahead.
We start the question.
All right.
Okay, I don't think we can do that. Do y'all? Okay, is there a witness that we need to watch that was interesting? Listen. Couple of thoughts, okay? First of all, Adam Waldman is the kind of hero that we hope for, right? He stepped up to the plate. Yes, he did something that went against his professional ethics, but there was a bigger legal issue at hand, and that was fraud. What he believed to be fraud, correct? So I had hoped, I'm telling you, when Whitney was on the stand yesterday, I had hoped that she would find the courage and just out Amber, just drop the tea, just tell the truth. Because we know with Jennifer Howell, she has said that Amber was beating Whitney in a ruthless manner. We have video of bruises on Whitney with Rocky trying to get her to admit that it was Amber that actually went after her. And she says on the stand that, you know, her whole life she had been beaten first by her dad, and then, you know, it continued with the sister. We know that Amber has spoken at length about her dad being her hero. All of this evidence that's come out in this trial, not only just from Johnny Depp's side, but also from Amber's side, has really only elucidated the fact that until Amber came into Johnny Depp's life, he was drinking, he was partying, he was getting high and whatnot, but he was very successful. He was, you know, dependable. He was doing what he had to do. She came into his life. She exerted, you know, the Amber invasion exerted powerful force on him and his mental health. The amount of alcohol he was consuming, the wide array and amount of drugs he was using was staggering. And then the very people that kind of brought Amber into his life introduced Dr. Kipper, among other people. And he just was being sucked down the, rabbit hole. And he ended up barely able to even function. On Wild Speculation Friday, the question becomes, was it the whole Hollywood Illuminati that Randy Quaid swears is real? And if we go with Wild Speculation Friday and say, yes, it was the Illuminati, he was totally set up. They were trying to take away some of his $1 billion so that he would not be influential. They can't give up their influence over the small people, the regular people, me and you in the world. And so they didn't want someone that was like us, someone who was principled. They didn't want him to have any kind of influence or the ability to establish organizations, news, mass communication platforms where his rational thought could be put out to the rest of the world, which is what they're now doing with Elon Musk. You got to ask yourself, why are they going after Elon? Isn't Elon one of them? Isn't he one of these fierce, independent, liberal people that, government bad, individual people good? Don't they want him? I mean, for God's sake, he's the poster boy for the electric car industry, right? Well, isn't that the whole point of sustainable energy? It's weird. You got to stop a minute and question, why are they going after one of their own? He's their poster boy. Well, is he really? Because he has come out, he's actually working with Jack Dorsey. Floored me because I regularly tweet to Jack Dorsey because he listens to me. I regularly tweet to Jack Dorsey and say, Jack, you're killing me. What about my free speech? You got to let me say what I want to say, even if I may use some ugly words to say it. So it was shocking to me to learn that Jack Dorsey was the only one on the board at Twitter that owned Twitter stock. That is very shocking. And then when we found out that Jack Dorsey was actually working with Elon in this acquisition, this takeover of Twitter, and people turned on Elon because all he's saying is, hey, everybody should be able to say what they want to say. Not just the people I support, but everybody. Like, with having a debate is a healthy thing. Having a debate makes life very interesting. So we need to let the other side, have a say. Even if we don't like what they're saying, it's okay to let them talk. And now he's losing everything. They've manipulated a great deal of things, and he is being harmed, financially. Of course, he's, on the spectrum. He probably doesn't give a damn. He doesn't seem to care. But this guy, Adam Waldman, seems like he's kind of one of those who said, hey, I'm willing to step up, do what's right, put the truth out there that the Amber invasion was placed in Johnny Depp's life. The Amber invasion, meaning Amber and her crew, they're there specifically to weaken him, to get him to a point that they can then disrupt him financially. They can interfere with his ability to go to work. What do we hear on the recordings? You hear Johnny Depp saying, Amber, I have to go to work. Why are you keeping me from going to work? You are literally making me late to work every day. But no, Johnny, I didn't do it. I just talked to you for 5 minutes. And Johnny said, I don't know what you're talking about, but your 5 minutes is actually an hour and a half. And you're not letting me go to work. And I have to get to work. People are counting on me. I need to be there, Amber. When did the problem start with Johnny Depp being late to the recording, what do you call it? The set during Rum Diaries, and then it got really bad during the Pirates of the Caribbean. Amber totally did this. She completely came in with her crew and they began to dismantle his life. We have heard the craziest gaslighting. I mean, it's shocking. I didn't hit you. You're not punched. Just because my hand wasn't opened like a good proper hit, you're not punched, Johnny. Quit being a baby, Johnny. Grow the fuck up, Johnny. You're like, wait a minute. He said you hit him. What are you talking about? That a punch is not a hit, is not an open hand for a proper slap. What? I don't care if it's a slap, if it's a punch with a closed fist, if it's a hit on the back, it's a hit. You struck him in anger. That's all he's talking about. And he doesn't want to be struck in anger. Her ability to gaslight is shocking. She had a horrible day the first day on the stand. It was an unmitigated disaster. I made the observation. I said, honestly, I don't know. Her mask has been ripped off. I don't know how she comes back and gets back on the stand without being a complete and total emotional wreck. And what she did was to fall back on the most basic of techniques. And that was, she just pretended that she was Camille. She walked up there. She took the same air as Camille. She was answering in the same tone as Camille. Her cadence in her speech was exactly like Camille. It's eerie. It's so eerie. So she, on Wild Speculation Friday, it does seem like there was a setup. Now, was a setup to get his billions? Who knows? But it was something. And Randy Quaid's story is very similar. And so Ben Waldman is my hero. And for the life of me, I don't know what they thought they were doing, putting him up on the stand. There are people that are probably attorneys, people that are well-versed legally. I'm just a psychologist. I'm not an attorney. I don't know those things. But the people that are attorneys and whatnot, they are saying things like, well, they wanted to show that Johnny Depp has something to hide. No, the client attorney privilege is sacred. It's sacred. The psychiatrist that spoke, Johnny Depp had to give approval. He had to waive his right to privacy, professional privacy. So, and he didn't have stellar, wonderful things to say about Depp. So, no, it didn't prove anything. It didn't prove that he had anything to hide. It didn't prove anything like that. So, the fact that Elaine says, well, why didn't you ask for $32.5 million? Because that's what you were entitled to. No, she was entitled to squat. That's what she was entitled to. She came into his life. She was independently wealthy on her own. She already had a couple of $1 million. She had a home to live in. His money, he had been well established, making that kind of money for years and years and years before she ever came alone. She was spending his money, $1 million. It was incredible how much money was spent. It just on wine was incredible. So no, Elaine, she wasn't entitled to what, $32.5 million. That's crazy. Elaine, you're making me crazy, Elaine. And here's the gist of it. She said on the stand that she's already spent $6 million on the legal fees. That means that the $7 million that she got from Johnny is gone. It's gone to the attorneys. The attorneys are going to lose this case, but they're going to walk away with bank. Did Elaine know that? Did Elaine know? Did she tell Amber, we can't win this? Or did she blow smoke and say, oh yeah, we totally got this girl, just to get her hands on that money? I don't know. Okay, here's what I'm going to do, peeps. I'm going to end this live. I've got about 20 minutes that I've got to do something, and then I'm going to be back, and I'm going to go through the Daily Mail article. Okay. All right. Actually, maybe give me about an hour and then I'll be back in about an hour. Okay. All right. I appreciate you guys being here with me and going through the testimony. It was very, very interesting. Oh my gosh. I would never hire Elaine to help me with a legal matter. I just wouldn't. All right. See y'all later. Bye. Go to BBT Boston's channel. She's got a funny video up of Pink Lady Luck.